Hi, I'm James Harper from LexisNexis, and I wanted to take this opportunity to send you a short video message to talk about the rule of law. What is it? Why is it important? And why is what you're doing by volunteering at a legal advice clinic such a vital part of it? But the first thing to say, I think, is thank you and well done. Volunteering to work in legal advice can sometimes be difficult, but is an incredibly important thing to do, as I'll go on to explain. So first things to say, well done. So the rule of law, what is it? Well, it's a term you're going to hear loads. You already hear it in the press, in the newspapers, politicians spouting it, journalists talking about it all the time, how important the rule of law is. But do any of them actually know what they mean when they say it? Do they mean we're ruled by laws? Well, no, it's not quite that. So the rule of law, the base principle of the rule of law is that we're all equal under the law. So no matter who we are, whether we're the Prime Minister or the President or the ordinary citizen in the street, the law treats us exactly the same. No one gets special rights or treatment. So that's the base principle of the rule of law. But we've gone a little bit further and we've added in another 3 definitions to give you a 4-element rule of law definition. So the first element, as I've said, everyone is equal under the law. The second is everyone should have access to the law. So you need to know what the law says. If you don't know what the law says, how can you comply with it? How can you use it to protect yourself and defend yourself? The third element is that the law should be administered by a judiciary that's impartial. That means that the judges who interpret the law do so fairly. They do it without corruption. They're not overtly swayed by politicians or finance. They just judge what's in front of them based on the facts and the law and nothing else. And finally, the last element is that everyone should have access to legal remedy. Or you might sometimes hear this called access to justice. And this last part is fundamental and it's part of the work that you do. If I have all of the other elements of the rule of law, so I'm equal under the law, I know what it says, and I know that the judges will interpret it fairly, but I don't have access to legal remedy, my rights can be ignored. There's no consequences for my rights being ignored because I can't access the system to enforce them. So access to legal remedy, access to the system itself is so fundamental if the rule of law is going to exist, prevail, and continue. Now, this is the biggest challenge that we have in relation to the rule of law in the UK. And let me tell you why. 70% of people who have some kind of a legal problem get absolutely no professional advice or support whatsoever. They may have a friend or family member that could help them. They may try and do it themselves, or more often than not, they probably ignore that they have a problem at all. But you can see how very quickly, out of the most tragic circumstances in your lives, things can start to spiral out of control. That could be you're losing your immigration status, your welfare benefits, your job, access to your family, your home, any of these things, which can happen to any of us. 70% of people get no support or professional advice when that happens. That leaves you with 30% of people. 10% of people can afford to pay for a lawyer, which is great. That leaves you with 20%. Of that 20%, there's 2% which get legal aid. So legal aid has been massively cut. It's been decimated over the last 10 years or so. And that means that so very few people can access a lawyer which is paid for by the state. So that leaves you the 18% of people. Those 18% of people turn to the free legal advice community, a community which is made up of clinics, pro bono, volunteers, charities, and people like you volunteering at their legal advice clinics. That's why this is so important. Let's remember 2 of those numbers. The first, 70% of people who have some kind of a problem get no support whatsoever. Of what's left over, 18% go to the free legal advice community. In other words, the free legal advice community is the biggest single provider of advice and support for people when they have a legal problem in the UK. The work that you are doing by volunteering at a clinic, along with many people across the country, is literally acting as a safety net for those people when they suffer some kind of legal problem or legal issue in their life. That's why what you're doing is so important. I can promise you, the work that you'll be able to do in a legal clinic changes people's lives. It makes that much of a difference. There is still 70% of people to go, but people volunteering to help and help us to start chipping away at that. So, as I said at the beginning, well done. It's an incredible thing that you do. That's what the rule of law is. That's why it's important. And that's why what you are doing is important. At LexisNexis, we place advancing the rule of law at the very heart of our business. It's our central purpose and objective as an organization. So we're delighted to support LawWorks in a number of ways, and I hope at some point we get to support you as well. You can use Lexis PSL when you're working in your law clinics, and one of my colleagues is going to record another video showing you some very basic guides of how to research in PSL if you've not used it already. Other than that, good luck, enjoy it, go out, help people, make things better for them, do your best, and I'm sure you'll make a massive difference. Again, on their behalf and on behalf of LexisNexis, thank you and well done.